Through the dark forest, the trees tall and thick, their branches twisting like skeletal fingers. A mist rolls across the forest floor, and the air is filled with the sound of rustling leaves and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. Kumi walks cautiously through the dense underbrush, his breath quickening with each step as he nears the dwelling of Moreniki, the sorceress known for her power over the unseen. Now, before we dive too deep into the story, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It really helps us out if you didn't know. Thank you very much. Okay, back to the story, shall we? When Kumi finally reaches the clearing where Moreniki's hut stands, a chill passes through him. The hut is small and crooked, surrounded by strange symbols carved into stones and bones hanging from the branches of nearby trees. Small altars scattered around the clearing are adorned with offerings bowls filled with herbs, animal bones, and other trinkets meant to appease the spirits. The sky above is dark, the moon hidden behind heavy clouds, and the only light comes from a dimly burning fire pit in front of the hut, casting eerie shadows across the ground. Kumi's heart races as he approaches the hut, his mind filled with the thought of Adanna and the jealousy that has consumed him. He steels himself before stepping toward the door, and as he raises his hand to knock, the door creaks open on its own, revealing a dark, smoky interior. The scent of burning sage, strange herbs, and incense fills the air, so thick that it nearly chokes him. Kumi's eyes water as he steps inside, squinting through the haze to make out the figure sitting in the center of the room, Moreniki. Moreniki is a formidable presence. She's draped in layers of tattered, colorful cloaks, each one marked with runes and symbols of ancient magic. Her hair, long and wild, cascades down her back, and her eyes are sharp and piercing, glowing faintly in the dim light. She stirs a thick, bubbling concoction in a clay pot beside her, her movements slow and deliberate. As Kumi approaches, she looks up, her eyes meeting his with an intensity that makes him stop in his tracks. "You come seeking something," she says, her voice a low, melodic rasp that echoes in the small space. "I felt your presence before you even entered my forest. Speak quickly. What do you desire from Moreniki?" Kumi swallows hard, trying to steady his voice. He tells Moreniki about Dayo and Adanna, about their love and their engagement. His words spill out in anger and bitterness as he speaks of Adanna's choice to be with a lowly farmer, leaving Kumi's own affections unreturned. He pleads with Moreniki to help him break the bond between Dayo and Adanna, to curse their love and turn Adanna's heart away from Dayo. As Kumi speaks, he sinks to his knees, desperate and willing to do whatever it takes to have Adanna for himself. Moreniki's expression is unreadable as she listens. She tilts her head, considering his words, the shadows of the hut playing across her face. After a long pause, she stands, her cloaks brushing the floor as she circles Kumi, her eyes never leaving his. "Love is not something to be trifled with," she warns, her voice low and foreboding. "To curse love is to play with fire, to meddle in the hearts and spirits of the living. The spirits do not take kindly to those who disrupt the balance of life. Are you prepared for what that means, boy? The consequences will not be yours alone to bear." Kumi nods furiously, his desperation overcoming any sense of caution. "I don't care about the consequences," he insists. "I only want her, whatever it takes. Name your price." Moreniki's lips curl into a wicked smile, revealing teeth that seem sharper than they should be. She reaches into a pouch at her side and pulls out a small wooden box, ornately carved with symbols and runes that glow faintly in the dim light of the fire pit. She opens the box, revealing an assortment of items: feathers, dried herbs, stones, and talismans. As she rummages through it, she speaks. "There is a price for all magic, especially one that tampers with love," Moreniki says. "If you wish for me to curse their union, you must bring me something personal, something tied to the one you wish to curse. A piece of her that will bind the spell and seal her fate." Kumi's brow furrows in confusion. What do you mean, something tied to her? Moreniki stops rummaging through the box and looks up, her eyes locking onto his. A lock of her hair, she says simply. Bring it to me, and I will have all that I need to cast the curse upon Adanna and Dayo. But be warned, once this curse is cast, it cannot be undone. Their love will wither and rot, their bond turning to dust before their eyes. Kumi hesitates, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. For a moment, he thinks of the gravity of what he is about to do, the damage, the pain, the darkness. But the thought of Dayo and Adanna together ignites the fire of jealousy within him once more, and he agrees. Morenica nods slowly, her eyes gleaming with dark delight. Return to me when you have the lock of hair, she says, dismissing him with a wave of her hand, and do not linger, for the full moon will soon rise, and its power will be needed to complete the ritual. Kumi stumbles out of the hut, the mist and shadows of the forest swallowing him as he makes his way back to Odanjo. The path home feels longer than before, each step heavy with the weight of what he plans to do. When he finally emerges from the forest, the first light of dawn begins to break, casting a faint glow over the village. Over the next few days, Kumi plots how he will obtain a lock of Adanna's hair. He decides to pay a visit to Adanna's home, pretending to offer his congratulations on her engagement. When he arrives, Adanna is sitting outside her hut, braiding her hair in preparation for the day's work. She's startled by Kumi's presence, but tries to remain polite as he approaches, hiding her discomfort behind a forced smile. Kumi greets her warmly, congratulating her on her upcoming marriage to Dayo. His words drip with insincerity, but Adanna, being kind-hearted, does not show her unease. As they talk, Kumi tries to engage her in light conversation, asking her about her wedding preparations and offering to help with anything she might need. Adanna politely declines, her focus on finishing her hair braids. Seizing the moment, Kumi steps closer, reaching out to admire one of her long, dark braids. "You have such beautiful hair," he says softly, his voice deceptively sweet. "I'm sure Dayo is a lucky man to have you." Before Adanna can pull away, Kumi swiftly snips a lock of her hair, hiding it in his fist. Adanna gasps, startled by his action. "Kumi, what are you doing?" she exclaims, pulling away from him. Kumi laughs awkwardly, waving his hand dismissively. Forgive me, Adanna. I just meant to tease, to play a little joke. It was not my intention to offend you. Please, accept my apology." Adanna, still uncomfortable, forces a smile and nods. "Just be careful next time," she says, turning away to finish her braids, eager for him to leave. Kumi, satisfied with his prize, quickly makes his excuses and departs, the stolen lock of hair clutched tightly in his hand. That night, Kumi returns to the forest, the full moon rising high above the trees. He finds Moreniki waiting for him by the fire pit, the flames burning a deep, unnatural blue. She looks pleased when he hands her the lock of Adanna's hair, which she holds delicately, as if it were the most precious thing in the world. With a grin, Moreniki gestures for Kumi to sit as she begins the dark ritual to cast the curse. Moreniki dances around the fire, chanting incantations in a language Kumi does not understand. The lock of hair is placed into a small bowl, along with herbs and powders, which she crushes together, releasing a thick, acrid smoke that fills the clearing. She calls upon ancient spirits, their names rolling off her tongue like thunder. The ground trembles as Moreniki's voice rises, and the wind howls through the trees, as if the forest itself is alive. As the ritual reaches its climax, Moreniki's eyes roll back into her head, and her voice deepens into a growl. She declares that the curse will take hold on the night of Dayo and Adanna's wedding, and will grow stronger with each day they are together. She places the bowl over the fire, and as the hair and herbs burn, a dark mist rises into the air, swirling like a storm before dispersing into the sky. Kumi watches in awe and fear as the ritual concludes. Moreniki turns to him, her voice returning to its usual rasp. "The curse is cast," she says, her expression dark and knowing. "Now go. Return to your village and wait. On the night of their union, the curse will begin its work, and you will have what you desire." Kumi nods and stumbles away, filled with a twisted sense of triumph and dread. As he walks back to Odanjo, he cannot help but wonder what will become of Dayo and Adanna once the curse takes hold, and whether he has truly made the right choice. Okay, folks, that's it for this time. But before you go to the next one, think about it. As Kumi returns to the village with a heavy heart, the curse is set to strike on Dayo and Adanna's wedding night. What do you think? Will they be able to sense the impending darkness, or will their love be shattered before they even have a chance to fight back? Let us know in the comment section below. And you, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Like and share with your friends. Have a good one.